Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of Aspire Magazine, Mindset Mojo mentor, and Sacred Visibility Catalyst, on a mission to bring you content, conversations that inspire you to believe in possibility and to live your best life. You know, sometimes books cross my path and people cross my path, and I'm like, oh, I have to have her on the show. And so today I'm super excited to be having a conversation with Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig. She is a certified life coach from the Transformational Arts College in Canada, a qualified solution-focused coach from Erickson International in Vancouver, and the best-selling Hay House author of Chica, Why Not? How to Live with Intention and Manifest a Life That Loves You Back. You know, through her online communities as well as her coaching programs, Sandra helps Latinas intentionally manifest a life that loves them back. And you know, I am all about law of attraction, manifestation, conscious creation. After leaving her childhood home of Monterrey, Mexico, Sandra poured herself into a successful 20-year corporate career that took her to live around the world and ultimately to Canada, where she now resides. But you know what? Like so many women, tired from trying to unsuccessfully chase happiness, she turned to therapy and spirituality for help, eventually leading her to the path she is today as a certified life coach, Reiki practitioner, and certified angel card reader. Sandra, we have some similarities in our story, and I think that's why I was so attracted to you, your message, and your work. So welcome, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
What I love, and you know, I've been doing this show for 6 years, and I love bringing women on and their story about inner transformation, right? And you know, the courageous steps that my guests have taken to transform their life, to live authentically. And when so many of my guests have done what you've done, you had this corporate career of what the world says, oh, you should be happy because you were accomplishing this. But if I understand correctly from what I've read, you started to get this, you know, this inner nudge telling you weren't happy.
I know. You know, I started my corporate career in, I'm going to say how old I am, but just saying this, but I started my corporate career in 1995. And, you know, I was doing amazing. Like, I was actually doing really well. Then around 2008, 2009. So I found the law of attraction in 2006. And that was a big pivot in my life. Like my life is before 2006, after 2006. And in 2008, 2009, I just started getting that nudge that there is something more. I should be doing something more. But, you know, it took me time. Like, I wish I could say, oh, yeah. And then I woke up one day and I knew exactly. No, it took me time. You know, at the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe it's the job, right? Maybe I need a different job. So I got an assignment and moved to England with my company. And I was there for 3 years. And that nudging was still there. And then I'm like, oh, it's maybe because, you know, I'm over here. Maybe I should go back home. And then I changed companies too. And then I was, you know, 3 years in that role, and that nudging wouldn't go away. I started kind of exploring what could this be, right? So I did Reiki, and I'm like, I love this, but maybe not this. I did cards, and I'm like, I love this too, maybe not this. But then I did coaching, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. And I think the moment it became very clear to me is the last promotion that I had in my job. I was literally doing the job I had been dreaming of for my whole career. You know, when you first start a career and you're like, oh, one day I want to be this, I want to do this. I was actually doing that job. I was leading North American Innovation for a big food manufacturer, which was my dream job. I'm a food, in my past life, I guess I'm still am a food scientist, and I was doing what any food scientist, I know I wanted to do from the beginning. And I'm like, okay, I got this dream job, and it still is not. I had the best boss in the world. I was with a beautiful company doing amazing brands, and I still had the nudge. And that's when I realized, and this is what I told my boss when I quit. I said, I have my dream job, but it's not my dream life. Like, it's not taking me to what I want. And then little by little, I started trying different things. And now I do know that I wouldn't do anything else than what I'm doing now. I love, sharing. I am, like you said, from Mexico. So I love sharing this message of you can be, do, or have anything you want with the Hispanic community, with Latinas that cross my way. I love creating safe spaces for them to find how to be more authentic. I really believe alignment is about authenticity. So how can we be more of ourselves so that we can allow, all of that well-being to come into our experience?
Oh, so beautifully said. And like yourself, when I first found law of attraction, it wasn't this, oh, everything's going to be magical. Like, we had to play and do the work and honor the path. But it was the best, like you. Mine was 1992, 30 years ago. And it turned my life, healed my heart, completely transformed everything. And little did I know that it would lead me to have all these media brands so I could bring amazing women like you and spread your message. So how long has it been since you left your corporate job and then got into coaching? Because, to be published by Hay House is a powerful accomplishment, right? So I'd love to hear that story of how you transitioned after you left there to become a life coach, and then what led you to write the book. So we have like 4 minutes in this segment, but if we have to switch off, we'll come back on that same topic on the next segment. So please start, share.
Yeah, so I did my first coaching certification. I have two. I did my first one in 2015, early 2015. And then I just started, so I was doing coaching in my corporate job. I didn't leave my corporate job until 2016. And then I started kind of doing coaching on the side. And then one day I never thought about writing a book, but I was having a conversation with a friend one day. And I said, I find, now that I'm doing coaching, that there's 3 places where the women that I'm working with tend to get stuck. And one is, I don't know what I want. The other one is, I know what I want, but I don't know how to get it. And the other one is, I know what I want, I know how to get it, but I can't get myself to do it. Fear gets in the way, or, I just don't get myself to do it. And then she was saying, why don't you write a book? Like, it seems like that would be perfect for a book. And, in my life, and this probably has happened to you, inspiration shows in so many ways. And, it's kind of those things that you don't know what to do with that nugget at the time, but you just kind of file it in your, mental cabinet, but it might mean something, right? And then I made a promise to myself around probably, so I found the law of attraction in 2006, so probably around 2008, 2009, I promised myself that every year I will do one class of personal growth, something that I've never tried before, that will, that might be another path for me to get in alignment, right? Like, I'm always trying to find new ways to strengthen that relationship with myself and the universe. And that year, Hay House had a writer's workshop in my town. I was living in Toronto, Canada at the time. And I said, well, I'm going to do this. So I did the workshop. And after the workshop, I'm like, I think I could write a book. And the way the workshop works is that you get to submit your book proposal at the end. And then the best book proposal gets a contract with Hay House. The second one gets a contract with Balboa Press, which is their self-publishing house, and then the third one as well. And what do you know? I won it. So I know. So I wrote the proposal in 2018. I did the writers workshop that year, and 2019, early 2019, it was announced, and my book came out April last year. So it's oh my God, it's been a fabulous ride. And of all the things I'm manifesting in my life, this is probably the most out there. I never imagined myself to be a Hay House author, but I am so glad it happened this way. I was so glad Hay House was my partner on my very first book, and I just love seeing that little book of mine, doing things in the world. Like, you get these messages, and like I say, I work very closely with the Latino community, and to hear Latinas say, "Oh my God, Sandra, I see myself in your book." Oh, what a beautiful feeling.
Yes, and that's what I love about how you're giving back and really making an impact in your community. We're going to take a break and let's talk about that more when we come back. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm with Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig, and you can learn more at her website at sandrahinojosaludwig.com. We'll be right back.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Inspiration for a woman's soul. Aspire Magazine, inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com. Are you ready to live a life of self-acceptance, inner serenity, and fulfillment? Many women, especially moms, live in a constant state of overwhelm, stress, and anxiety, and are chasing the illusion of perfection due to unconscious beliefs of not feeling good enough. It's time to stop the cycle. Maureen Melanson, certified master life coach and international hypnotherapist, passionately supports women to quiet the chatter of their mind and release the stories, scripts, and false beliefs, keeping them from hearing their inner truth and living their highest potential. As an entrepreneur of the Busy Wellness Center, Inner Serenity Wellness, and the mother of 8 children, Maureen knows firsthand the delicate balance for women to overcome overwhelm, commit to self-care, and to create a fulfilling life. And she's ready to support you on your journey to inner serenity. Learn more at innerserenitywellness.com.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at Om Times Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. Om Times Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back, my friends. I'm so glad you're here with me today and my special guest, Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig. And she's the author of Chica, Why Not? How to Live with Intention and Manifest a Life That Loves You Back. So what a magical experience, to win the Hay House writing contract. But like the book, and as I told you before we came in the air, your website, your book, it just has this beautiful energy about it, like this authentic energy. I was really drawn into your website, and I was so excited to have you on the show. So, as the book came out, or as you were writing the book, is that when you made the decision that you want to focus on serving Latinas, especially Latino women, so you can empower and support them in believing in their dreams?
I made the decision when I first started following this line of work way before the book, because I've been a huge, I always joke that I've spent so much money in Hay House because I'm always reading their books and listening to their authors. And I am so grateful for so many amazing teachers that I've had in my life that have brought me to the point where I'm at, the relationship that I have with myself and with spirit. But none of them looked like me or sounded like me. And from the beginning, I knew that whatever work I did, I wanted to bring it into my community. I wanted to be the person that will speak to people in my community using their own stories, using cultural references that resonate with them. Every community has its own quirks, and so does my Latino community. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to talk about that with them, right? Like, I mean, my book is for everybody. It explains the law of attraction. It explains the steps that you can take to bring yourself back in alignment, to overcome resistance. But I very intentionally wrote it as the book that I wish I had read when I was first starting my journey, right? I talk about my immigrant experience. I talk about what it's like to grow in a Mexican household. I talk about even, that internal struggle of balancing, family expectations versus the expectations that you have for yourself that maybe you don't allow yourself to see because of family expectations, So I talk a lot about those little cultural nuances that I think makes I hope makes the message more powerful when Latinas read that book.
Yeah, I believe so, because I believe there's a couple words you use a lot that really speak to me, because I use them too. Alignment, right?
Yeah.
And the book is in alignment with your values. You wanted other women and Latinas to be able to see themselves, to give themselves hope. Like, well, if Sandra did this, and Sandra experienced or felt this, then it's okay. I'm okay if I'm experiencing or feeling those same things. It's like gives permission.
Yeah, and there's something very powerful about seeing yourself in someone else's story. And also, as a coach now, I find how powerful it is to create safe spaces as well. It's spaces where that you will be seen, that you will be met in a way that you're like, okay, they understand me. They know what I'm going through. They know what I've been through. It's such a powerful thing. Like, there's this class that I do about the law of attraction. I do it twice a year. I'm actually starting it tonight. The one in the spring one, I do another one in the fall. And the one that I did last year, the last one I did last year, someone actually reached out to me and said, Sandra, I've never before in my life, like I've been so curious about it, but I've never signed to a class before, to a law of attraction class, because I didn't know if these kinds of classes were for me. But when I saw you, and you're Mexican like I am, I'm like, yeah, this class is for me. That was one moment where I felt like the universe was saying, you got this, Chica, you're doing it. This is where you're meant to be.
Yeah, and what you're doing is inviting them in and giving them permission. But I love something else you said about creating a sacred space, a safe space. I think that's so important for all of us, right? We can't experience personal growth on our spiritual growth on any level if we don't feel loved and supported, right? If we don't feel safe to be authentic, if we don't feel safe to be heard. And I think that is a human need. that goes across all boundaries. And it's missing for so many of us, especially as women.
I know.
Right? And then add another layer as a Latina woman. It's like, what a gift that you're creating. And the ripple effect is going to be powerful, because then these women, or anyone that reads your book, right, whether they're Latina or not, they are going to step on the path, do their healing, and create a ripple of transformation in their own lives.
And that's my hope. I really think that, you know, the world that we want will be created by these little ripple effects of, me sharing my story with other Latinas who then experience their own transformation and share their own story, and so on and so on. And then, many times in my community, we talk about transgenerational trauma. And what I want to create is transgenerational well-being. Let us start with us, and then that goes to our kids and the kids of our kids. Like, what a beautiful way of changing the trajectory of our families, and I like to think that the work that we do and the transformation that we go through is the answer to the prayers of our ancestors.
That is so beautifully said. For many years, I've used the phrase that, just because of my own healing journey, that women are the nurturers of the next generation, right?
Yeah.
So if we do not heal ourselves, we're going to take all the ancestral and family stuff that is ingrained in us and just continue the pattern. But when a woman stops the cycle, it affects all the generations to come. So what a beautiful vision. I loved what you said. What was it? Transgenerational well-being. Did I get the phrase right?
Yeah. Instead of
transgenerational
trauma, I'm all about transgenerational well-being. Let's bring it on.
Yes, and I just love that. And you can feel the intention and energy just in that phrase of, so long we focused on our trauma and our drama. I did that for 30 years. And when I said, listen, I'm going to start focusing on the healing. Yeah. That's when everything changed, right? Because sometimes we get locked in the story that we forget about the light. And that's my own journey. And that's how I chose to heal, because I stayed so long in the darkness from the pain of, childhood trauma and all of that. That day I woke up in 1992 and, sitting on the side of the road in my car. I was a single welfare mom of a 6-year-old, and I was actually thinking of taking my life. And I was just crying and cursing all that is. I didn't have a relationship at the time with the divine or God or universe, whatever phrase everyone wants to hear. And then I heard really clearly, and just a voice that said, Linda, the truth of who you are was never touched as a child. Your pain is from the story you continue to carry. That blew my mind. And that day, after I sobbed and wrote everything I envisioned on a Dunkin' Donuts napkin, I put the key in the ignition, drove away, and I believe this is no accident. Someone had sent me, because she knew I was in pain, the book from Louise Hay. I'm sure you know it too, because you're a Hay House girl, is You Can Heal Your Life.
Yeah.
And that book led to a Marianne Williamson book, to a Wayne Dyer book, and here I am today, right? And now I publish books. My 19th book is about to get announced. I publish women's stories. So like you, it's that we know from our own personal experience the transformation that can happen when we are in a sacred, safe container.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your story. It's so beautiful, because sometimes it takes those moments of us just opening ourselves just a tiny little bit to see what could be possible for us. And then the universe just comes in such a beautiful way. They step in. My story was not that much different from yours, in that I was also feeling very hopeless. I was also feeling almost like there was nothing else for me. I felt very stuck. I felt very sad. I often say, I would be washing dishes, just crying while washing dishes. And it's like, where is all this sadness going from? I didn't even know. Now I know, it was a lot of trauma. The story my in my body and in my spirit, but I didn't know at the time. I didn't even know what to do with it. And it just happened that I overheard a conversation. I was feeling very frustrated at work, and I overheard a conversation of this, the president of the company. Someone was explaining that he used to be this junior marketer who used to complain about everything. And then one day he stopped complaining, and like 4 years later, he was the president of the company. And I remember hearing that story, and I'm like, again, one of those things, I don't know what to do with it, but this seems like something important. So I kind of filed away. And then within, I would say within a couple of weeks is when The Secret came out, the movie The Secret.
Oh, yeah.
And I was working from home, which was very strange because I worked in manufacturing at the time. So I needed to be in the manufacturing plant. But for some reason, I was working from home. 2006, there wasn't a thing. So I'm working from home, and I have Oprah on, and she's interviewing them. And I thought, what? They're talking about you can create your own reality. And I'm like, what? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So immediately I went to look for the movie. I found the first version, the one where Abraham is, Esther and Jerry Hicks. And then I remember listening to all the teachers, and the one that I was fascinated with was Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. So I went and immediately looked them up on the internet. And then what do you know? They were going to be in my town for a 2-day weekend workshop, like a couple of weeks after. That was March 2006. So I went to the workshop and never looked back. That was the beginning of it all. And it was like, I remember I came home. I was so excited about what I heard. I was writing the whole weekend. Everything they say, I wrote it down. And I came home and I wrote it all in a computer, in an email. And I sent it to everyone I knew. And I said, did you guys know this is a thing? You can create your own reality. Did you guys know? It was so wild. I am so grateful to.
And it was so. Before we go to the next break, what I'm hearing too is, see, you stayed open to the synchronicities. You saw it on Oprah, but guess what? 1 million people saw it on Oprah, but no one took the next step, right? You were like, I'm going to go look them up. Then you took the next inspired action because your soul knew this was for you, right?
Yes.
A lot of people don't take the action. And your whole story gave me soul giggles because I remember when The Secret came out. I remember that energy of like, what?
Yes.
Right? And so I could feel your excitement. It brought me back to mine. We're going to take a real quick break again, and we'll be back. And let's talk about that more because it was that piece of you taking action. And then the divine said, oh, she's listening. I will now show that there's an event coming her way. Let's see if she takes action on that. And then you met the divine halfway. And then I notice it keeps bringing us breadcrumbs, spiritual breadcrumbs for us to follow. So I'm so excited to continue this conversation. We'll be right back, my friends. I'm with Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig, author of Chica, Why Not? How to Live with Intention and Manifest a Life That Loves You Back. You can learn more at sandrahinojosaludwig.com. We'll be right back.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Are you a highly sensitive, empathic woman ready to release the layers of false beliefs and emotional blocks holding you back from living the life you deserve and desire? Now is the time to clear those false beliefs sabotaging your life so you can access the joy and possibility waiting for you on the other side. Neurotransformational coach Kathy Castile, herself a highly sensitive, is passionate about supporting and empowering women in reclaiming their self-worth, finding their authentic voice, and in releasing the layers of sabotaging beliefs holding them back. Kathy trained with Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, and Sean Smith, and intuitively merges numerous coaching, leadership, and healing methodologies to serve the entire spectrum of human behavior, creating transformational changes so you can make long-lasting breakthroughs in your life. Learn more at kathy-castile.com.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Hailing Light, on Om Times Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Me, a cat moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back, my friends. I am loving this conversation with the author of Chica, Why Not? Be sure to look up that book on Amazon and all other retailers. You will want a copy, my friends. So, Sandra, like when you were sharing your story, it was bringing me right back, right? And what I've noticed over the last 30 years is millions of people read the same book, right? The Secret. Mm-hmm. But the ones that actually transformed their life are the ones that didn't just read, they absorbed, they took action, they implemented, they brought it into their life. Do you notice that too? The ones who they read it and go, this isn't working. I'm sitting here doing my affirmations, but they were doing it from a different energy.
Yeah. And, I think two things happened. So I think one is I was ready. I actually, those times that I was crying doing dishes, those times that I was crying, as I was driving to work, that was me reaching out and saying, meet me halfway. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I need to do next. Just show me the way. And I think I always tell people there is such a beautiful thing that happens when we open ourselves and we say, what if there is something else? What if I could be something else? I could live in a different way. And I think at that point I was ready. I was ready to receive something. And also, because I was ready, I was eager. I was eager to take action. I was eager to follow. I love what you say, spiritual breadcrumbs. I was ready to follow each and every one of them. Now I know there are no coincidences. Now I know the universe, spirit is constantly talking to us. Is constantly giving us inspiration. I didn't know back then, but I am so grateful to the person I was then that I was so open to see what else, what if, what could this be? Why not, right? And I went to the workshop and that ended up being amazing. I tell people, when I teach the law of attraction, actually it's one of the steps in my book, commitment, I call it. And when we talk about energy, there is no higher energy than action. One of my favorite sayings is by Joseph Campbell that says, take one step towards the gods and the gods, they take 10 steps towards you. I love that. I really do believe the universe will meet you wherever you need it to meet you, but it wants you to show it, to show how much you want it. And by me taking those steps, I received 10,000 times what I put in. So I am so grateful to the person I was there. I was ready and I was eager.
Exactly. And something you said too about inspired, the word inspired it means in spirit, which is aligned with divine, is how I look at it. And so for me, I use that phrasing, inspired action, in a lot of my conversations and website copy, because I want to tell people it's not just action, it's the inspired action. When you receive this nudge like you did, right? Like, follow this breadcrumb. That's the divine, the inspired speaking through you, right? It's more than just action. It's like honoring what you're receiving. And like you, Sandra, now, like back then, I was learning, of course, as we all are. Now, when I receive an insight, I call it divine download, I no longer doubt. I just listen and do. And people are like, you're such a master manifester. And I'm like, we are all master manifestors. We just
Yes.
have to be open to receive and align with the divine. The divine wants that relationship of trust, right? Of listening. And it's almost like, I don't know about you, like I get soul giggles like when something's about to manifest or I receive the next step, I always go, oh my God, thank you, thank you.
Yes, and it's like, you know, and I gotta, I wish I could say, oh, 2006, and I was forever a master manifestor. It took time because, now I speak a lot that alignment is another word for authenticity. It's about connecting with the real person that you are, the person that remembers what a powerful, magnificent creator you are. And the truth is that I didn't start there, and I don't even know if I'm there yet, but it's been all of these years now of learning to become acquainted with my own power, my own ability to co-create with the universe, and my own trusting that well-being abounds, trusting that everything is working out for my highest good, trusting that the universe will always surprise me again and again the moment I let go of the details. And, it's this constant, for me, it's been this journey of continuing to connect with myself and with my connection with spirit in a way that it just feels like this clear conversation, right? Where I'm no longer, are you sure? No, that doesn't seem right. It's almost me saying, okay, yeah, that seems like something. Let me see what comes out of that, right? And it just, I have a funny story. The day that I did that workshop in 2006 with Abraham Hicks, I met this one woman in Toronto, and we were sitting down in the breaks and talking to each other and, just sharing about what we were learning. When the time came for me to find an editor for my book, because to write the proposal, I wanted to have an editor, do it really professionally. So I never written a book. So she works in the publishing industry. I didn't know, she told me that in 2006, and 12 years later, I'm like, hey, remember that time you told me that? Do you know an editor? She's actually the person that recommended the editor. So it all came back in like full circle. It just comes to show what happens when we allow ourselves to believe that everything will be available for us. And sometimes it feels hard to convey the message when someone is just surviving. And it's like, how do you take someone from surviving to thriving? And I really do believe safe spaces is what take us there. But once you get there, oh, it feels so good.
It does. And another word you said that really spoke to me personally, as well as reflects my journey, is learning to trust. Because when you come back from a trauma, background or family situations, trust is something that you are ingrained not to trust, right? So then when you start communicating with the divine, one, you have to learn to trust yourself, because that was usually taken away when you're a child in those circumstances. Then you have to learn to trust your connection to your source. And that was big for me. And I'll be 60 this year. And I've been on this path for 30 years. And it's something else you said that really resonated about alignment and authenticity. Now, authenticity is one of my core values for my business, along with connection and 4 other principles. But I'm still unfolding, and I've been doing this for 30 years. There is no there, right? Because we're human. We're going to keep unfolding. But now I'm on this beautiful trusting journey because I've learned to trust all this time. I guess there's like a quicker response in me. But it's a beautiful, like watching ourselves unfold, as you beautifully explained it earlier.
Yeah, it is. It is such a beautiful journey. To even now, looking back for the last 16 years of my journey with the law of attraction and my journey with spirituality, and just see everything that I've been able to co-create with the universe, it just makes me so excited about what's to come. And that's one thing that what you're saying, when you're in trauma, you don't trust. It's really hard, right? And I know sometimes the language that we use when teaching this can be triggering for some people. When we say surrender, and they're like, no, trusting, no, and that's why I put so much emphasis into creating safe spaces, because it's teaching people how to feel safe again in their bodies and in their minds, so that then that connection with spirit can become clearer and can become stronger, so that then they can start. I even say, if you cannot do an affirmation, start with an affirmation. What if I am a powerful creator? What if I can do, be, or have everything I want? Like I said before, every time we open ourselves to the possibility, it just the universe wants to show us, to give us evidence. And that's how you build the relationship with trust, right? You just put a little bit out there,
yes,
and then the universe shows up, and you're like, okay, what if I put a little bit more? And then the universe shows up, and eventually it's this beautiful co-creation conversation happening.
Yeah, it is. It's so beautiful. And one of my clients is an intuitive psychologist, and she always says, you got to build your trust muscles. Like if you went to the gym, you want to start lifting 350-pound weights, you would start little weights. Well, when you're on the journey of building your trust, start small and just continue. So we're going to take our final break, and I can't wait to dive into the rest of our conversation in our final segment. We'll be back in a moment. I'm with Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig. You can learn more at Hinojosaludwig.com. We'll be right back.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Are you feeling the call to unleash your feminine wisdom, hone your empathic gifts, and rise as the goddess you are? You're not alone, my beautiful friend. Crystal Cockerham, spiritual mentor and certified red tent facilitator, trained in both shamanic and priestess practices, works with awakened, empathic women around the world to unlock their shackles of pain, shame, and self-condemnation so they can reclaim their sovereignty and liberate themselves from the world's perceptions. As the founder of Wisdom Awakens and an international best-selling author, Crystal uses her own intuitive blend of spiritual midwifery and energy healing to support women on their journey of transformation. You'll find supportive guidance and community in Crystal's programs, retreats, and sacred offerings. If you're feeling the call to embrace your feminine power, learn more about Crystal's supportive services at crystalcockerham.com.
Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Do you feel overwhelmed and unsure about what steps to take to find peace, joy, and purpose in your life? Chris Groth is a spiritual mentor, energy healer, and best-selling author of the novel Soliloquy, a novel of healing, soul connection, and passion, and co-author of several best-selling books. Chris is passionate about helping women connect more deeply to their own truth, to promote healing, and restore balance to the body, heart, mind, and soul, so they can live a soul-connected life. Chris serves clients around the world through spiritual mentoring sessions, energy healings, and powerful custom-guided sound healing meditations that bring in the energy of crystal singing bowls. If you're ready to heal your heart, nurture your soul, and illuminate your path, schedule a complimentary virtual session with Chris today at chrisgroth.com. That's Chris with a K and GROTH.com.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Thanks for circling up with me today. This is your host, Linda Joy, and we're having a sacred conversation with Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig, author of Chica, Why Not? How to Live with Intention and Manifest the Life That Loves You Back. Be sure to check all your favorite booksellers, grab a copy, and begin your journey today. So, Sandra, you've been impacted. I know when you were talking earlier about, Hay House and listening to all the audios, like so many of us in the books. Who has influenced your work the most, would you say?
I think it's a variety of people. I think from the Hay House authors, I will definitely say, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Louise Hay, and Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer he's the person that is still keep coming back over and over and over again.
Oh my God, me too.
Every conversation of him, like there's still the podcast that you can listen to. Every conversation of him just feels like a hug, isn't it? Like oh.
Well, for the last since last June, I love the old classics, right? So since last June, I started with Audible. And this is not an exaggeration, my family will attest, I have listened to The Power of Intention and Wishes Fulfilled, his two audiobooks, probably 30 to 50 times. I go to sleep listening to usually The Power of Intention because what you fall asleep listening to. So I just put the phone down, I listen on low and fall asleep to that. So there's some of the old classics, Law of Attraction classics, some of like Norman Vincent Peale, Florence Scovel Shinn. Those are people back from like the 1930s and 40s who were talking about Law of Attraction. Neville Goddard, talking about Law of Attraction before it was ever mainstreamed. So lately I've been on a big kick with that. So everyone you're naming made a big impact in my life too. Anyone else come to mind that like you find yourself?
Yeah. And then after Hay House, like I've opened myself to other authors, so obviously Eckhart Tolle and Gary Zukav. I love also books that are not specifically about the law of attraction, but help you reconnect with the person that you really are. So I very much love A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And actually lately, I read recently a couple of books that have completely made me see life in a different way. One is called The Body's Not an Apology by Renee Taylor. And the other one is My Grandmother's Hands. And I just finished the book and I apologize, the name of the author escapes me. But both of them really talk about, how to create safety within your body, how to reconnect with who you authentically are. And almost like, especially My Body is Not an Apology, is how do you reclaim those parts of you that you kind of ignore or let go in order to fit in. So it's almost like reclaiming, your culture, reclaiming, your body, that might be not the typical standard of what a perfect body is, but it's about reclaiming those parts of us that we let go in order to quote unquote fit in.
Wow, it's beautiful. And that one is called what? The Body is Not an Apology? I wrote that one down. I'll have to be sure to check that one out. And I think
it's a life-changing book. It is a life-changing book.
Yeah, and I have some clients I'm thinking of too that I could recommend it to, because so many of us struggle. I know I did. I was disconnected from my body for probably 30 years until I had the memories of my childhood. And then it's been 30 years of really learning how to reconnect with it, honor it, and nurture it, right? And heal the story I had with it. So thank you for those inspiring reads. I always love to hear what other leaders are reading, and because I'm a book geek, so I'm always looking for good books, audio books, podcasts. So one of the things you mentioned is you do law of attraction workshops twice a year. Are those virtual and in person, or one or the other?
So right now it's virtual. So we're doing it because I also find it allows me to reach out as many people. And so they're virtual.
I agree. Yes, I do the same thing. I have a global audience. It's all virtual, and it allows us to reach and serve so many more.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about.
I think that's going to be one of the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When is that coming up? When's your spring one coming up?
Yeah, so actually the spring one I'm starting tonight. So tonight is my first class is 5 classes once a week, and so we're starting today. I will launch it again somewhere in the fall. I usually do 2 a year, and basically it's like I tell people, I'm teaching you everything I've learned in the last 16 years. So it's anything from how the law of attraction works, what are the mechanics of it, how the energy moves faster, how we, resist it, all of those things. But then I spend also a lot of time on, okay, so now that you can tell you have resistance, how do you overcome that resistance in a way that is compassionate, that is loving? I always say we cannot shame yourself. We cannot shame ourselves back into alignment. We can only love ourselves back into alignment. So when we find something, a belief or a view of the world that is keeping us away from letting all of that good stuff into our experience, so how do you love that part of you that may be feeling less than, or is feeling that I don't deserve this, or is feeling that this kind of things don't happen to me? So how do you love yourself back into reconnecting with the person that you really are and the person the universe knows you to be, which is this amazing creator, right?
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. So I know everybody's going to have an amazing time with you for this session. And again, I want to invite everyone to visit Sandra at Sandra Hinojosa Ludwig. And I'm going to spell her URL. So it's Sandra, HINOJOSALUDWIG.com. And please visit her website, check out all the amazing wisdom she shares, as well as grab a copy of her book, Chica, Why Not? Sandra, it was such a blessing to have you here with me today, to circle up with you. I am so glad I honored my intuition to reach out.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been a fun conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. And until next time, everyone, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness, my friends. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.